My beloved child, after the light has spoken on your behalf, do not be quick to think that every noise will immediately fall silent. Every gaze will become fair, and everyone will understand you according to the truth. There are people who will see what has been revealed and still try to hold on to the old story, not because the truth is not bright enough, but because their hearts are not ready to release what they once believed, once said, and once used to protect themselves. Do not let that disappoint you. Vindication does not mean everyone must bow their heads and admit it. Vindication is when I restore to you the inner position that the words of people once tried to take away. Vindication is when you are no longer bound to the need to be correctly understood by those who never wanted to see you with clean eyes. When I have set the truth back in its rightful place, you are allowed to move forward, even if some people still remain behind, holding on to the familiar darkness of their own hearts. What I want you to keep in this stage is not a louder voice, but a softer heart. After days of being misunderstood, distorted, and judged, it is very easy to think that you must become sharp-edged so no one can touch you anymore. But my child, sharpness may make others cautious around you. Yet it can also cause you to lose the gentleness I have preserved through many seasons of testing. A soft heart is not weakness. A soft heart is strength that has passed through fire without becoming bitter ashes. A soft heart is when you still know how to set boundaries, but do not allow those boundaries to become walls of hatred. A soft heart is when you can remember what happened without letting old pain control your present voice. I am not telling you to forget the lesson. I simply do not want that lesson to turn you into someone who no longer knows how to love in the light. Therefore, if one day you meet again those who once saw you wrongly, let peace guide your words. You do not need to say a great deal to prove that you were right. You do not need to recount every detail to force them into shame. You do not need to use words sharp as swords to reclaim your honor. Your honor has been kept by me, even when you thought it had been trampled underfoot. Speak only enough. Speak rightly. Speak with purity. There are sentences that do not need to be long, yet still carry weight. There are words that bear no blade, yet still restore order. There are silences that are no longer fear, but the authority of one who knows they no longer have to fight for a place in anyone's story. You once kept silent because you were wounded. Now you can keep silent because you have been set free. Remember Joseph, who was sold by his own brothers, misunderstood in a foreign land, forgotten in a prison, and then, one day, was lifted by me to a high place in order to save many people from a great famine. When his brothers stood before him in fear, Joseph had enough power to retaliate, enough reason to recall every wound, and enough position to make them bow their heads in humiliation. But he did not use his elevation as a whip. He wept. He discerned. He tested their hearts. But in the end, he chose to speak from a heart I had softened through many long years. Joseph did not erase the truth that evil had happened, but neither did he allow that evil to define the rest of his life. Do you see? My beloved child, true vindication does not make you a ruler over old pain. True vindication makes you free enough to no longer live by that pain. After I bring light to what must be brought into light, I often do not let you remain forever in the place of vindication. I will prepare you for another transition, quieter, deeper, and requiring greater watchfulness. When the noise settles, you will see new invitations appear. Some people will want to come near because now they see value in you. Some places will open their doors because the truth has changed the direction of the wind. Some opportunities will come with a bright appearance, as though they are a reward for what you have endured. But my child, not everything that opens before you is what I have prepared for you. Not every hand extended toward you carries healthy companionship. Not every place that welcomes you has good soil for what I have placed within you to grow. You need discernment. not merely acceptance. Use peace as your measure, but not the false peace that comes from being praised, invited, or seen. The peace I give is deeper than pleasant feelings. It does not force you to distort the truth in order to remain. It does not require you to bend yourself into the shape others desire in order to keep a position. It does not demand that you return to the kinds of compromise from which I have rescued you. If a door requires you to lose integrity in order to enter, it is not my door. If a relationship only accepts you when you shrink your light, dim your voice, or hide what I have taught you, that is not a place where you must take root. You have learned too much in the season behind you to return to old garments that no longer fit your new maturity. Perhaps you will recognize something strange after the truth has been restored to you. You no longer crave recognition the way you once did. Before, you may have longed for people to see you, hear you, understand you, and confirm that you were not what they once thought. But now, a new stillness is growing within you. Do not call it a loss of fire. It is the fire being restored to the right altar. You no longer live to chase the gaze of others. You live to follow my sending. That difference will save you from much weariness. Those who live to be validated must appear constantly, explain constantly, answer constantly, and maintain an image constantly. Those who live as ones who are sent know when to be present, when to withdraw, where to sow, and where to simply pass through in peace. I want you to choose good soil. My beloved child, good soil is where you can sow without having to guard every seed in fear that it will be trampled. Good soil is where you can build without always being defensive. Good soil is where truth is not treated as a threat. Boundaries are not seen as insults, and your growth is not dragged back by others into your old form. You do not need to be everywhere simply because a door is open. You do not need to answer every call simply because someone says your name. You do not need to prove that you are generous by returning to a place that once drained you. If I have taught you to walk out of it, forgiveness does not always mean coming close again. Peace does not always mean reconnecting as before. Sometimes peace is keeping a clean distance without hatred, without debt, without being pulled back. And if some people still choose to believe the old story, let them remain in their own rhythm. You do not need to witness the process of their awakening in order to be free. You do not need to wait for the day they apologize in order to rejoice. You do not need to sit at the edge of your own life, watching who has changed their mind about you, who still holds prejudice, who has understood, and who remains stubborn when you stop to keep watching them. You unintentionally give them the power to control your pace. I did not give that power to them. I return to you the freedom to walk with me, to live in the light I have restored, and to move toward what is waiting for you ahead. Those who truly belong to your new chapter will recognize you in the truth without requiring you to explain too much. Those who do not belong will naturally step back, even without you having to drive them away. The distance that forms after vindication is not always division. Many times, it is order being restored. When clear water and mud are no longer stirred together, everything finds its proper place. When you no longer force yourself to maintain unhealthy connections, you will find life becoming lighter, your words fewer, yet weightier, your choices quieter, yet more accurate. I did not bring you through a season of exposure so you could return to living in confusion. I brought you through it so you would learn to walk with a soft heart, clear eyes, firm boundaries, and hands that no longer grip the past. Let the light do its part, and you do yours. Live uprightly. Move forward in peace. Love without compromise. Forgive without losing yourself. And trust that I am still leading you into places where there is true life. What I am building in you is not like the fleeting rewards the world often uses to measure human worth. The world can praise you today and take it back tomorrow. It can lift you up in one season and forget you in another. It can applaud you when you succeed and turn away when you are weary. But what I place within you through steadfast days cannot be given by anyone in my place. And no one has the right to take it from you. It is maturity forged through tears, calmness formed amid storms, discernment sharpened through the times you had to wait, and humility born when you recognize that every good thing comes from my hand. You do not see it growing day by day, just as people cannot hear the roots of a tree quietly growing deeper in the soil. But when strong winds come, it is precisely the unseen part that will keep the tree from being uprooted. I know you once wished change would come more quickly. You wanted a clearer sign, an earlier open door, a stronger confirmation so your heart could feel lighter. But, my child, if I only gave you what you wanted without building within you the capacity to carry it, the blessing could become a weight that makes you sway. Therefore, sometimes I do not change the circumstances immediately. I change you first. I deepen the foundation before raising the roof. I strengthen the feet before opening the long road. I soften the heart before entrusting greater influence. I do not hurry what is precious, because what I am preparing for you is not a brief flash of light, but a lamp that can burn steadily through the long night. Remember the 3 Hebrew young men who were thrown into the fiery furnace because they refused to bow before what did not belong to me. Before they were delivered, they had to stand before the pressure of power, before the eyes of the crowd, before the music that summoned people to compromise, before a fire heated hotter than usual. They did not know how I would deliver them, but they knew to whom they belonged. And in the very place that seemed as though it would devour them, I was present. The fire did not destroy them. The fire only revealed that they were not alone. When they came out, not only were their bodies preserved, but my name was exalted among those who once thought the furnace would have the final word. Do you see, my beloved child? Some burning places are not meant to end you, but to prove that what I have placed within you is stronger than what stands against you. In the same way, I do not bring you into a season of refinement so that you will remain there forever. Fire has its limit. Pressure has its appointed time. Waiting has its day of completion. I do not forget you in the place of testing, nor do I allow the fire to do more than it is permitted to do. I am the Father who knows when fire must touch what is not yet pure, and I also know when to draw you out of that place. But when you come out, you will not come out as the same person. You will no longer be easily shaken by every whisper of opinion. You will no longer need praise to know you have value. You will no longer collapse simply because a door opens slowly or because someone does not understand you. What once terrified you will no longer rule you as before, because in the fire, you met me in a way that easy days could never teach you. There is a steadiness I am placing within you that you do not need to strain to prove. It is not outward toughness, nor is it coldness used to hide weariness. The steadiness that comes from me is very different, soft, yet not easily broken, quiet, yet not weak, clear, yet not aggressive, strong, yet not needing to make noise. As that steadiness grows, you will find that you no longer react hastily to everything that touches old wounds. You will know how to pause before answering, pray before deciding, look deeper before concluding, and keep peace even when others are not yet at peace. That is the sign that I am bringing order to your inner life. Then, when the day comes for you to be lifted up, what I built in the hidden place will keep you from pride. When eyes turn toward you, you will not forget the days when I carried you quietly. When responsibility increases, you will not see yourself as the source of everything you carry. When others praise you, you will know how to receive it with gratitude without becoming intoxicated by it. When a great door opens, You will not run in like someone starving for recognition, but you will step in like one who has been prepared in the hands of their Father. And if one day a new trial comes, you will not shatter as you once did, because you will know that pressure is not always a sign that I am against you. Many times, it is the place where I train you for a greater portion. Understand that the heavy days have not been wasted. The tears you thought had fallen to the ground have been gathered by me in mercy. The prayers no one heard have reached my ears. The upright choices you made when no one witnessed them have become precious stones in the foundation of your life. The times you wanted to give up but still remained in faith have formed a depth that no shortcut can give. I do not measure you by how quickly you escape the trial. I look at your faithfulness while you are still in the middle of it, and that faithfulness is adding to you a beauty that does not fade, an authority that does not need to show off, and a peace that does not depend on circumstances. So, my child, do not despise the hidden season. Do not think that because you have not yet seen flowers, the roots are not growing. Do not think that because you have not heard applause, heaven is not rejoicing over your endurance. Do not think that because you are still tired, you are not being renewed. Some changes begin very small. You no longer fall into despair as quickly as before. You no longer need to explain yourself to everyone as you once did. You are no longer broken by rejection as before. You no longer chase what has no peace as before. These things are signs of the work I am doing. They may not appear dazzling in the eyes of the world, but they are very precious before me. There are days when you see only the difficulty in front of you, but I see the work being built. You see a weary day. I see a stone being placed in the foundation. You see a restless night. I see another section of the bridge being connected. You see one more time of gritting your teeth and refusing to give up. I see endurance being formed within you. Do not despise the days you have quietly overcome. Do not call those seasons meaningless simply because they had no applause, no witness, no brilliant sign announcing that you were moving forward. Many times, I build the most enduring things in you when you feel weakest. I do not waste your tears. I do not ignore your sighs. I do not take lightly every time you still choose to wake up, still choose to do what must be done, still choose to keep your heart upright even when within you. You are weary, like a lamp burning close to its last oil. I know there are seasons when life does not come to you as great storms, but as cold numbers lined up before you, a payment due, a deadline drawing near, a shortage you do not know how to fill, a legitimate need that you must weigh as though you are not allowed to need it. You open your wallet and your heart sinks. You look at your account and your breath grows heavier. You hear someone mention an ordinary expense, but to you, it feels like a question pressing upon your chest. Will I have enough? Will I be able to stand? Will one small mistake cause everything to collapse? You have learned how to calculate carefully. Divide things into small portions. Postpone what can be postponed. Hide what you lack. Soften the way you speak about your worries. And smile so others will ask fewer questions. But I see it all. My child, I see even what you do not say, even the weariness you have folded away behind the words. I'm fine. Do not think that I am present only in the moments when you are strong, bright, and full of faith. I have been with you even in the moments when you felt poorest within. I was with you when you stood before a small choice and your heart ached because you had to say no to something you truly needed. I was with you when you watched others live more lightly and wondered why your portion had to be so difficult. I was with you when you pretended to be calm while inside you were counting everything, fearing every expense, worrying about each day. Beloved child, lack does not make you less valuable before me. Seasons of struggle do not make me look down on you. On the contrary, in those very places, I have drawn nearer to you, not to rebuke you for worrying, but to remind you that you do not have to carry the whole world on your shoulders by yourself. Remember the widow in the days of Elijah, who had only a handful of flour and a little oil in a jar, thinking it would be the last meal for herself and her son. She did not live in abundance, had no full storehouse, and had no human guarantee that tomorrow would be easier. But in the place that seemed like the end, I placed a miraculous door through a small act of obedience. The flour did not run out. The oil did not fail. And what seemed enough only for an ending became a source of nourishment for many days. Do you see? I do not need a full table in order to begin caring for you. I can work with the small portion left in your hands. I can touch what you think is too little. I can turn a nearly hopeless moment into a place where my faithfulness is revealed. Not so that you may live carelessly, but so that you may know your life is not limited by the number you are looking at. I do not deny your weariness. I do not tell you that those pressures are insignificant. A merciful Father does not comfort you by minimizing what you have endured, but by entering into it with you and saying, I know, and I am here. I know how it feels when you have to appear fine so you do not burden anyone. I know how it feels when you want to ask for help but fear becoming a burden. I know how it feels when you have had to be strong for so long that you have forgotten you also need to be supported. But today, I want you to breathe out in my presence. You do not need to perform before me. You do not need to say everything is fine when it is not yet fine. You do not need to decorate your worries in order to be worthy of love. Bring me your weariness, Nupri, your fear, your tangled calculations, and the questions you do not dare speak to anyone. I will not turn my face away from you. Perhaps you thought that the days of living very frugally, cautiously, and carefully were only days of being held back. But I tell you, within them there have also been precious lessons. You have learned to value small things. You have learned to distinguish between what is necessary and what merely soothes emotions for a moment. You have learned to look at life with more careful eyes. But I do not want that lesson to become a chain. I do not want you to live forever in a contracted posture, as though every good thing could be taken away at any moment. Wisdom is not the same as fear. Stewardship is not the same as obsession. Caution that comes from me brings peace. Fear makes you afraid to receive even the things I place in your hands. Therefore, I am healing not only the circumstances around you, but also the way you view my provision. From now on, when you face the numbers, do not let them name you as one who is deficient. You are not your debt. You are not your deadline. You are not the remaining balance in your wallet. You are my child, known by me, kept by me, led by me through every season. This does not mean you ignore responsibility. On the contrary, you will steward with a clearer mind because you are no longer stewarding from panic. You will do your part in integrity, but you will not allow the numbers to sit on the throne where only I am worthy to sit. You will calculate, but you will not bow to fear. You will arrange things, but you will not lose faith. You will walk step by step, and each step will be placed in my light. I have led you through many turns so that you would understand that my help does not always come in the form you expect, but it always comes according to my wisdom. At times, I helped you through an open door. At times, I helped you through a person who appeared at the right moment. At times, I helped you by preventing you from making a choice that seemed good. At times, I helped you through quiet strength that enabled you to endure one more day. Do not despise that kind of grace. My beloved child, some miracles do not change your life overnight, but keep you from falling apart over a long season. And that very preservation has brought you here. to the place where you can look back and realize, without me, you could not have remained standing, but because I was with you, you still have hope, still have breath, and still have a road ahead. So, my child, let your heart soften before my care. Do not remember only what you lacked. Remember also the times I kept you from lacking what was most necessary. Do not look only at the days when you had to tighten everything. Look also at the days when I quietly opened a way of escape. Do not count only the amounts that frightened you. Count also the small evidences that I have never abandoned you. I am leading you out of a life that only knows how to shrink in order to survive. And I am teaching you to step into wider trust. You will still be wise, still be responsible, still know how to arrange things, but you will no longer be ruled by worry as before. For the hand that held you through the old turn is still holding you today. And I, your father, the one who placed every stone beneath your feet, will continue to build a road for you to walk, until you realize that every season that seemed to be only endurance was, in truth, leading you to the place I prepared long ago in love. You were once accustomed to measuring your worth by very fragile things. When you accomplished much, you thought you were more worthy of love. When others stayed, you felt you had a place. When they left, you began to wonder what you lacked. When someone praised you, your heart lit up. When someone was silent, you felt as though you were suspended in a trial with no end. You lived for too long in the posture of waiting for a verdict, as though every day someone had to confirm that you were good enough, worthy enough, necessary enough. I have seen that weariness. I have seen you trying to please, trying not to disappoint, trying to prove that you are not a burden, not someone easily replaced, not someone who can be forgotten. But my child, my love does not place you on that scale. I do not call you by your results. I do not receive you as my child because you perform well. I called you before you had done anything to boast of. And that love does not change when your day becomes weak. I am untying you from the old cycle, one knot at a time. Some knots were tied by the fear of failure. Some knots were tied by memories of rejection. Some knots were tied by words others once spoke, causing you to learn to shrink back before anyone had the chance to hurt you. Some knots were tied by your own habits, always judging yourself too harshly, always thinking you must try harder in order to be allowed to stay, always believing that peace only comes after everyone is satisfied. But I did not create you to live like someone standing outside the door, holding explanations in your hand, waiting for someone to allow you in. You belong to me, and when you belong to me, your identity cannot be suspended on an invitation, a rejection, a favorable season, or a broken day. Remember David, the youngest son, who was left out in the field with the sheep while the others were seen in the house. When Samuel came, people looked at stature, order of birth, appearance, and the signs that are easily respected. But I looked into the hidden place. I knew David in the wilderness before he was called into the midst of his family. I saw him when no one thought of him. I anointed him not based on the approval of his brothers, nor on the outward appearance people often admire. Do you see, my beloved child? A true calling does not begin when the crowd sees it. It begins in my gaze. If David had needed to live on the recognition of those who forgot to call him in, he would not have been able to stand firm in the days that followed. But because I had placed identity upon him, he could learn to walk through the field, the palace, the cave, and the battlefield while still being kept by me. In the same way, I am bringing you out of the need to be named by everyone. Some people do not see you, but that does not make you disappear before me. Some people do not understand your value, but that does not lessen it. Some places do not receive you, but that does not mean there is no place to which you are being sent. When you know you are a child of the King, you no longer need to live in the posture of begging for love, begging for attention, begging for a place. You will not lower the truth within you just to be kept in a room that does not honor what I have placed in you. Nor do you need to show off, become loud, or decorate your image so that others will be forced to look. A child who knows where they belong does not need to plead to be recognized, nor become arrogant to hide insecurity. That one stands upright, yet the heart remains soft. That one knows their worth, yet does not look down on anyone. That one walks firmly, yet still bows before me. I want you to understand the difference between humility and self-devaluation. Humility says, "Everything I have is by your grace." Self-devaluation whispers, "I am worth nothing if no one needs me." Humility makes you free because it places you in the right position before me. Self-devaluation makes you dependent because it causes you to hand the power to define you over to others. I am not calling you into false smallness. I am calling you into purity, to know that you are loved without needing to boast, to know that you are chosen without needing to despise others, to know that you have value without turning that value into a throne for the ego. You can stand firm in dignity and still be gentle. You can receive what I give and still be grateful. You can enter a spacious place and still remember the hand that led you through the narrow place. In the days ahead, you will see me test the foundation of your stance through very ordinary situations. A compliment will come, and I will see whether you become intoxicated by it. A criticism will come, and I will see whether you allow it to collapse you. Someone will leave, and I will see whether you return to begging for acceptance by losing yourself. An opportunity will open, and I will see whether you step in from peace or from hunger for recognition. These are not tests meant for me to catch your mistakes. This is the training of a father for a beloved child. I am teaching you not to be pulled too high by praise, nor thrown too low by criticism. I am teaching you to live from a secure anchor, where my word over you carries more weight than every fluctuation. Therefore, let me reset your posture. Stop bowing your head before voices that do not produce life. Stop chasing places that require you to trade integrity for acceptance. Stop asking whether you are enough every time life does not go according to plan. You do not become lacking simply because a plan has not yet succeeded. You do not lose value simply because one person did not choose you. You are not excluded from my love simply because one day you are weary and weak. Stand in what does not change. I have called you, my child. I placed identity upon you before the world had time to give its judgment. I have known you, loved you, corrected you, sustained you, and prepared you for the road ahead. When you stand rightly, you will walk rightly. When the foundation within you is healed, you will no longer turn blessings into pressure. You will receive opportunities without trembling. You will welcome responsibility without trying to prove yourself. You will love others without begging them to define you. You will leave unhealthy places without carrying guilt. You will remain where I place you without needing constant applause. That is the freedom of a child who has been reset upon a firm foundation. I am not only preparing you for what is coming, I am preparing the way you will stand within what is coming. And when the new season opens, you will not enter like someone afraid of being pushed outside, but like a child of the King entering the portion that has been assigned. Not arrogant, not trembling, not begging, not showing off, but peaceful, clear, tender, and steady in my unchanging love.